Hey guys, this is football. Just watch the first game, Arsenal taking on Brighton at the Emirates, the carpet as they call it. And we have to react to this game because of one officiating decision that impacted the game. And Declan Rice is sent off just in the second half, barely when the game has just begun, and players just trying to settle for the second part of the action. And then Declan Rice, already on a yellow card, gets a second booking, and the rule book says he is interfering with the play because he slightly kicks the ball. I wouldn't say kicks the ball because he slightly kicks the ball and brushes it. That's the word. He brushes the ball barely 1 feet away from his feet. And Chris Kavanagh, the center referee, immediately comes in. And remember that this is a time when the opponent has also kicked Declan Rice, and Declan Rice has fallen to the ground. And he is anticipating that his opponent is going to get perhaps a warning, if not a booking. And when he stands up, Chris Kavanagh goes straight at him and shows him the second yellow card, and this becomes Declan Rice's first red card in his Premier League career. So, and this is not the way you want to get your first red card. Of course, red bookings and red cards are not always good experiences. None is always good, but at least if it has to be a red card, then I'm like in the Declan Rice mind. If I have to receive my first red card, it's gotta be some legitimate foul, something strong, something not really controversial as Chris Kavanagh's second booking. So what this means to the game then is that Arsenal are to play for the rest of the game 10 men against Brighton 11 men. And immediately as it goes, Brighton gets their equalizer. Arsenal tried. This is not to say that Brighton is not a strong side. It's one of the strongest team in the Premier League right now. They'll be playing nice football, and so coming to the Emirates and collecting a point, I think that is something commendable. But we have to talk about the center referee's decision. I feel like when it comes to Arsenal, the referees act differently. They decide to become more strict, more stringent with the law, and they are following the laws to the letter. It's like the referee goes to the pitch with the rule book on his hand, so he will be reading it as he applies it to Arsenal, because when it comes to Arsenal, there is always no leniency in the Premier League. Referees get strict when it is Arsenal, so much so that I feel there is an anti-Arsenal agenda being played in the Premier League. Remember, for instance, there is the new corner rule that has been created, and it is created specifically to tame Arsenal, and in particular this guy, particularly Benny White. This rule aims at Benny White. Remember last season, Benny White had a way of kind of interfering with or playing with the psychology of the opponent's goalkeeper and their concentration, and also the defenders, and this always gives Arsenal some slight advantage in the corners so the new rule applies to Arsenal in that it is supposed to watch how Arsenal behave in the goalkeeper's box during corners and during other set pieces like free kicks and all that. So this rule is specifically targeting the Gunners. It is set for Arsenal. And this confirms my argument that when it comes to the Arsenal, the referees metamorphosizes into something different than their. If Manchester City, for instance, were playing today, uh, and one of their players, let's say Rodri, for example, commits such a foul, they will brush it off. If it were Manchester United, they will do the same. Liverpool, they will do the same. But because it is Arsenal, then the referees have to act different, and this really affects and kills the morale of the game. It spoils what looked like a good game. This ought to have been a perfect way to start a weekend, but the referee Chris Kavanagh doesn't think so. He fails to be reasonable. And another reason why I say when it comes to Arsenal, this has got to be different. Referees have to be different. Is that I think in the first half there is this instance where the one of the Brighton's men, I can't remember his name. I haven't really caught. It's too early to do my analysis and review some of their names. But one of these Brighton's player, the ball is chasing after the ball runs out of the touchline, and to interfere with the play, he kicks it away, and you can see Mikel is at the touchline. I think I have touched a little video of it. Mikel is complaining, Arsenal fans are complaining that why is this guy interfering in the game, and Chris Kavanagh ignores that. Literally, he ignores it, doesn't really care that the whistle has been blown, the ball is out, this is Arsenal's foul, the play needs to continue. Arsenal's are urgent and they want the play to continue with some sense of urgency and immediacy, and this Brighton guy knows that, and he kicks the ball away. Chris Kavanagh sees this and he ignores it. He lets the game continue. Now in the second half, Declan Rice brushes the ball and he's also kicked in the process. And what does Chris Kavanagh do? Sends him out. So when it comes to Arsenal, there is an agenda, and I think Arsenal fans must know this. And if they don't know, then they probably are so ignorant they don't know what kind of world they are living in or what kind of football the English Premier League is. The anti-Arsenal agenda is as old as Arsene Wenger in the Premier League, perhaps even older than that. It's even older than that because even before the Wenger era, they used to complain about the kind of football that Arsenal were playing. Wenger comes and then there is this anti-Arsenal agenda. There is the French players also coming in. There is the nationalistic politics coming in about Arsenal being so much infiltrated with French based players. So during the Wenger versus Ferguson rivalry and competition, a lot of decisions go against the Gunners, which really need not to go against them. So the anti-Arsenal agenda is alive, and if you think it's a joke, then you gotta watch this season. Last season it manifested. It's gonna manifest in this season, and I told you that the new corner rule is aiming at Arsenal because Arsenal scored a lot of goals from set pieces and corners last season, and the hegemony, I will use a political term, the hegemony, the status quo do not like that. They do not want Arsenal to win. They do not want Arsenal to progress. So they come up with a new rule to tame them. And then look at how Chris Kavanagh, PGM all handled today's game. It's real Arsenal, there is Arsenal, and then there is the rest of English Premier League teams. And so referees knows how to play between these two teams. When it's Arsenal, hit the straight button, known, and when it's other Premier League teams, hit the leniency button. I'm disappointed because this was a nice game that was ruined by poor officiation. So I'd like to hear your comments. Arsenal fans, football fans, please react. Thank you.